What's going on, everybody? You're listening to another episode of 20 Tim Minutes. I am your host, Tim McCarthy. Today, I am joined by Liv Bowser, founder of Liberate, which is a place to strengthen your mental well-being and enhance relationships with others and yourself. Liv, welcome to 20 Tim Minutes. How are you?
I am so good. So excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for taking the time. Now, I feel like most people hear studio and they think it's like a real physical fitness type thing, but yours is a little bit different. It's more of a mental fitness studio. Can you explain what Liberate is?
Yes, yeah, it's exactly that. We are the first mental fitness studio. So a lot of us, myself included, up until recently, think of a fitness studio and you think of a yoga studio, maybe a cycling studio or a boxing studio. And we essentially took that model and applied it to mental well-being instead of physical well-being. So instead of heading to a Barry's boot camp class and lifting dumbbells to tone your bicep, you come to our virtual studio and we move and we journal and we talk and we meditate and tone our mental muscles like courage or resilience or gratitude.
What are some examples of like journaling? Like what would you guys be writing about?
So many things. Our five mindfulness themes that we focus on in our classes are getting present, getting courageous, getting grateful, getting proud, which is like self-love, confidence, things like that, and then getting resilient. And within those five themes, we have hundreds of different prompts that we pull from and focus on, you know, make a list of things that bring you joy and then ask yourself, how you can incorporate some of those into your week. Or maybe we're going to, make 3 columns and explore different parts of our life that we're grateful for. There are obviously a million different gratitude prompts and
Yeah.
just wellness prompts in general. So we really pull together a few different ones to focus on building a specific muscle throughout the class.
How does one, I know I have trouble with this, and I know a lot of people do, is like the self-love, feeling self-proud of yourself. Because sometimes when you say things that you're proud about, you feel like you're being too like egotistical almost in a way. That's how I feel. Like, what are some like suggestions or what are things that you do to help people feel like they're not being a dick when they try to pat themselves on the back?
Yeah, that's so common. And something I always say is you're not bragging, you're being proud. We have worked X amount of years on earth to become the person that we are today. Obviously, we're still a work in progress, but we deserve to celebrate who we are. And that's not bragging. That's just literally being proud of all the work we've put in to come this far and to be this great. And it is a muscle. So it's super unnatural the first time you do it. It feels really hard. We have negative voices in our head telling us, you're not funny. Don't write that down. That's not even true. And, kind of challenging you as you try to explore what you love about yourself. And that's why it's so important to train self love, just like it is a bicep or a tricep, because the more you do it, the more you even contemplate those questions, even if it's really difficult, the more natural it will become to speak kindly to yourself and build yourself up instead of put yourself down.
And you've had this, what, since about May 2020, Liberate?
Yes. Yep. We just celebrated our first anniversary.
Oh, congrats, congrats. And now the name and everything stemmed from you. That was all you?
Yes, that was all me. I was in a yoga class, a hot yoga class, probably like 3 years ago. It was a long time ago, and well, I guess it's not that long, but it feels long in terms of
It,
liberation
it
timeline.
is long.
And the instructor told us to liberate our practice, and it felt like such permission for me to just exist and breathe and take some pressure off of myself. And I really loved when she said that. I think the word holds a lot of power. So that's, if even just seeing our name on a shirt or on a website can give you a little bit of a breath of fresh air, that's what we want to do.
That's awesome. I like that a lot. Now, what is it? Is it like just how many people are in a class at a time? Do you guys interact with each other? Is it just one-on-one? How does that work?
We have community classes, and those, it can be anywhere from 2 people to 50 people, depending on the class that you're joining. Sometimes we do classes that are more specialized for a specific team. And so if that company has a team of 10 people, that's who's in the group. If they have a team of 100 people, that's who's in the group. So we kind of cater the flow of the class based on how many people are joining. And there is an opportunity for interaction where really big on community and lifting each other up and getting stronger together. So it's always an option to interact, whether you're sharing over Zoom chat or you're sharing vocally, over Zoom. It's whatever you're comfortable with, but it's so great to hear like what other people are finding inspiration with or what other people struggled with from the self-love exercise, and we all get stronger together.
Right. I always feel like they always say, what is it? Misery loves company. So when you feel like someone else is in like the same boat, having the same thought process, you're like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy too. So you're crazy with me. So it's great to feel.
Totally. Well, you're like, that exercise was so hard for me. It was so hard for me to come up with things I loved about myself. And then everybody else says the same thing. So even that process allows you to stop beating yourself up so much because you realize you're just human. Everyone else is dealing with the same struggles, and that's okay. We're just here to work on ourselves.
You know what it is too, I think with that is people don't want to be the first one to say it. Like they always say like you'll if you're thinking it, a million other people are thinking it. And I always was like, yeah, you're right, because I was that kid in high school was like, there's no stupid questions. I'm like, okay, let me try. Like I feel like that's the biggest. It's like giving a presentation in class. You don't want to go first, but everyone else is as nervous as you.
Yeah. That's why with our class leaders, whether it's myself or another leader on our team, we always share first. We're never going to be like, who wants to share if we haven't led with vulnerability, because what nobody else wants to share first. Like everybody
Yeah.
wants, see someone else lead by example and be vulnerable. And that's why we call ourselves leaders as opposed to teachers or guides or anything like that, because we're really just, taking that first step and encouraging everyone to come with us.
I'm just thinking of the idea of like a class about anxiety and asking someone who wants to go first and just being riddled with more anxiety. It's like a vicious cycle. It's like, all right, topics anxiety, who wants to go first? And everyone's just like, no.
Exactly, right, like, that is not what we wanna do. The goal is to leave your stress and anxiety behind you or work through it, never leave with more.
Yeah.
So, everything's optional, you can modify any part of the class and every part of the class so that we meet you where you are, as opposed to saying, "Hey, this is where you need to be," because that's not helpful for anyone.
Now my timing's always so bad. Now May 2020, was that like right when COVID hit or was that in the midst of it?
It was what we, like, thought was the peak before we knew how long it was gonna go on for, so
Yes,
it
okay.
it really started more in March. May was lockdowns, everyone was fully at home at that point, and I had originally had the idea of opening an in-person studio, just like all the fitness studios we know and love, and doing that path. I had never even considered virtual, resources, and when COVID hit, I took that as a sign from the universe that this is going to happen now. This is not going to happen how you planned it, but people need and want support, and this can do that. So I just started personally leading the classes last May, and then we started to build out the team as we gained more momentum.
How did you get something like that to catch on so well? Because I looked at your site and you've been featured on like Forbes and Health, and I'm like, during the pandemic, it's like, how do you get something like that out to the masses, let alone have it work for so many people and be so successful?
Great question. It's definitely not easy, but luckily for us, mental health is kind of becoming more and more of a mainstream topic. People are becoming more and more open about the conversation. I mean, I didn't even know really what anxiety was a couple of years ago. I don't think I was ever talking about it. And now there's a lot more conversation around mental well-being. And especially during the pandemic, people who had never felt anxious or stressed before had
Yeah.
all-time high levels of anxiety and stress. Like everybody was looking for a solution, and mental health and mental well-being just became such a huge priority for humans as a collective that I think a lot of publications were looking. I mean, they were looking for Liberate. They were looking for
Yeah.
something to help, and I was just, raising my hand and shouting as loud as I could, "Pick us!" And we got some coverage, which was really great.
That is fantastic. I like that a lot. Now, with the way you started it, did you have any prior like issues that you knew mentally that you were like that brought you to this point that you wanted to help other people, or anything like an instance that happened in your life?
I definitely had my fair share of anxiety and stress, and it wasn't anything like super horrible that happened to me, but it would be I drank too much coffee and had a panic attack that lasted for 2 hours and totally derailed my day, or I got in a fight with a significant other and I was, sick for the next 2 days. Like I wasn't able to manage my emotions as they came. And so it turned into this like super heavy spiral that I had a tough time getting out of. And I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel so like weak or out of control physically. I felt really, really strong physically. And I started to recognize how weak, for lack of a better word, I felt mentally and really wanted to change that. Like I felt so uncomfortable with that fact and I wasn't sure how to change it. And that's when I really started checking mindfulness out and, exploring yoga and exploring meditation to see maybe, all these woo woo people are right. And it does kind of help you feel better. And felt like I was backed into a corner. So I was willing to try anything.
I love the term the woohoo. I always like hearing that. I feel like yoga is such a big staple with mental health. Like I want to say the majority of my guests I've talked to are like all yoga practitioners, yogis. I don't know what the right term is. What is it?
Either.
Yogaers? I don't know.
No, that's wrong. Yogis or yoga practitioners, I would say, are good.
I got in. That's when I first started losing weight and getting in shape was because of yoga, and I've always liked it. I like stretching. I'm a short guy, so when I stretch, I feel like I'm tall for a half a second, and it just feels good. Like your back, your knees, everything, and it's like everything's so connected with your mind and body. It just makes sense that yoga is a pretty much staple for everyone that's in physical health, mental health.
Yeah, I think it's a really great initial step too if you're brand new to mindfulness and meditation and things like that because you're still moving. So if you're kind of uncomfortable with the concept of stillness, yoga is a way to get into a more meditative state while still moving and starting to explore your mind and body as one, but not feeling like really alone with your thoughts yet.
Yeah, there's definitely a tough meditation seems tough to me. I've slowly tried to look into it. I love yoga because I can just sit there and be like, all right. But like meditation seems like a whole different thing. Like, how do you, I don't know if you can, but like, how do you get people to like even try to get into like yoga or meditation that say like it's too slow or they can't like relax during it?
That was a lot of, the thought process that went into creating a Liberate method because I know a lot of people who don't like yoga and most of the people I know don't meditate because it seems boring or slow or intimidating and they're not interested in stretching for an hour or they're not interested in sitting for an hour, which is totally reasonable. But
Yeah.
these modalities have so many benefits that I was wondering, how can we create a workout where people can still get the benefits of all these modalities and actually like them before they get bored or before they get turned off. And so with the Liberate method, you're only moving for about 10 minutes. You're only meditating for maximum 10 minutes and it's guided and it's at the end of a class where you've already moved and journaled and started to relax and connect with yourself. So it becomes this really enjoyable grounding practice as opposed to just randomly sitting down in silence and you're not even prepped and you're like, I'm still thinking about 20 million other things. My goal with everything we do at Liberate is to make mindfulness as approachable and accessible as possible. And so by creating kind of an energizing and dynamic workout around it, it doesn't feel so stiff or woo woo or whatever you want to call it.
Right. Now, I feel like a lot of people probably lose track of this because I always like seeing it from other people's standpoints. Running a business, not easy. You're doing really well. You're doing something that helps a lot of people. Do you have days that you're like, this is tough, or like maybe you feel like you're not doing a good enough job, or just mentally, like in the back of your head, you're like, you're getting stressed out trying to help other people? Are you living up to expectations? Like, do you have thoughts like that as someone that owns a business like this?
I definitely have my moments of this is overwhelming or am I doing the best thing possible for my people? I have a team of 4 other class leaders and some interns and it's important to me to be creating value for everyone in the community. That includes the people who come and take Liberate classes and the people who are on the team. But to be honest, the practices that I do at Liberate and outside of Liberate that are a part of our method are so helpful with my confidence and with my resilience that when I have a moment of doubt or I have a moment that's super challenging, I know exactly what to give myself to get through it. Like, go write a list of things you love about yourself, go dance around a room, call a friend. There are so many different things that I can pull out of my back pocket for when I'm having those moments of again, kind of weakness, that they are much more fleeting than they used to be.
I'm not only the owner, but I'm also a member of Liberate. I like that. That's just a great way to sell it too, because if it works for you, it works for everyone else. The reason I ask that is I feel like everyone always just sees someone that like owns something or is doing successful, that everything is just fine. And I feel like a lot of those people get kind of forgotten because they don't know how their mind's working right now. They have a lot going on, especially when I see like other businesses, like just like restaurant businesses where someone's happy doing good and then they fall under. It's like people got to check up on these people, good or bad. So I always like to see what people's mindsets are when they're doing so well in life. That how are they keeping that positivity? Is there any negativity? How are they getting over that? But that is good to hear that you're pretty much practicing what you preach, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I honestly am like, I don't know how you could be an entrepreneur without meditating and journaling and doing yoga, because I honestly, like, I don't know if I could hang. I don't know if I would have the mental skills to be able to deal with the loneliness that comes with it and the overwhelm and the responsibility. Like, it's definitely a lot, but I have trained my mind to be really strong. So, there's nothing that I can't handle, I don't think.
What else do you do besides Liberate and yoga? Do you have any other like fillers that you go through to keep your day filled up? Do
I
you have
go
any
for
other
a
hobbies?
I have a lot of hobbies. I go for a lot of walks, which is, I mean, it's, kind of meditative walks too, but just being outside in nature and taking breaks throughout the day with what I do. I work pretty much every waking hour of the day, except for when I am moving or meditating or practicing mindfulness. So I read every morning, I go for a walk, at least once a day is my goal. I do yoga every day. I try to journal a few times a week when I feel like I really need a boost. Journaling is really helpful for me whenever I'm having kind of a tough day. And I try to stay connected with, loved ones. I think there's a kind of a notion that as an entrepreneur, it's work, no fun. You can't go to the barbecue. You can't see
Yeah,
friends. You gotta just work 24/7. And you do work 24/7, but you're going to be able to work, or at least for me, I'm going to be able to work for so much longer term if I take a break on a Saturday and go to the beach with a friend, or if I meet up with a friend for a walk after work one day during the week, because those things fill up my cup. So I think I'm really attentive to what fills up my cup and what the status of my cup is, so that I don't find myself, you know, a year into Liberate so drained, haven't refilled my cup in a year, and I don't want to do it anymore, because that's not what I'm after.
that's great. Going outside is like a must. Even just going for little walks. It even like when I don't want to go outside, I'll be like, I'll just go lay on the hammock, and then I'm like, okay, this is good. This is way better than sitting inside and doing
Totally.
nothing.
Always.
Now we talked about this in passing when we first talked, and I couldn't wait to bring this up as well. Is so we talked about a little bit of anxiety and realizing when you might have had it. Now you had an experience when you were overseas, right? With a plane, and you said this story mad casually where I was like, hold up, let me get a pen and paper and actually take this down. And you don't really talk about this.
No.
I don't know how it came out of conversation, but it was fantastic. But we have to dive into this.
I don't know how you got it. I don't know how it came up, because we were like hanging up, I think. And then somehow the plane came up. I'm not sure. Um, but it is really interesting, because I'll just say this before I get into the story, is
Yep.
that there's so much reflection to be done. And that's why therapy is really great. And that's why journaling is really great. And even just talking with other people about your life is really great, because you can pick up on patterns or moments that have impacted you, and then can, with that knowledge, maybe kind of change the landscape of your mind or whatever. Like, by telling you this story, we both were like, wait, is that what triggered my anxiety?
Yeah.
And it honestly might have been, which is just so kind of interesting and cool that I'm learning that now, I don't know, 7 years later or something like that. But basically, I had been studying abroad in college. I was on my way home from Europe and so excited to go home. I was really, really homesick. And we took off on the plane, and we heard this super loud noise as we took off. And everyone's kind of like, whoa, what was that?
What kind of plane is it?
Delta. Delta
Okay.
Plane.
So it's like a big, it's not like a little plane. It's like a big, big,
No,
like,
no, 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 no. It's an international
okay.
flight from, Madrid to New York,
Okay,
whatever.
perfect.
So it's big. So you got the three middle rows, the rows on the side. I'm
Oh,
on the
okay.
side. I'm right over the wing next to this lovely woman I don't know, who is a very, very nervous flyer. And I'm a pro flyer. I'm like, this is no big deal. We're just on our way. Full faith in Delta. And the loud noise shook us a little bit, but nobody seemed to really care. And the pilot came on and said, we popped a tire when we took off. It's not a big deal. We have plenty of extra tires. See you in
Yeah,
8
that
hours.
happens.
Totally. Like it was super casual. So I have my music on and I'm just hanging out. And the woman next to me starts freaking out a little bit, maybe 10 or 15 minutes into the flight, and is like getting my attention and telling me that there's a hole in the wing. And I'm like, that is, when the wings come up, like there's
Yeah.
kind of a hole. Like this is a non-issue. We're fine. Put the window down, go to bed. And she won't stop freaking out. So I'm like, okay, let me just look. And I look, and there is literally a hole in the wing. There's a hole in the middle of the wing where what we find out later was a hydraulic that had been knocked out and was sitting on top of the wing after the tire had popped. It had like knocked it out of the middle of the wing. And there's all this fluid spewing out of it, which to me, I know nothing about planes. And I immediately think that's gasoline and we're all about to blow up.
Yeah.
So I have a full on bridesmaids movie, like Kristen Wiig screaming on the plane, waving to get the flight attendants, shouting, there's a hole in the wing. I'm like, excuse me, we have to do something. And she comes running over to shut me up and realizes that I am in fact right. And there is a hole in the wing. And so then she runs over to one of those midway plane phones and calls the pilot. And 30 seconds later, the pilot comes on and says, we have a, technical issue. We're going to have to turn around and go back to Madrid. Then we comes on later and tells us he has to dump gas. We're not going to make it to Madrid. And we're only like 10 or 15 minutes away at this point. But we had to make an emergency landing in a field outside of the airport. And everybody on the plane is coming up to my window, even though everyone was supposed to be seated, to see the hole. Some guy who thinks he knows stuff about planes is telling me what's wrong and freaking me out. And so this woman and I become great friends because we're experiencing this together. And as we land in the field, so technically kind of a crash landing, the plane takes off going so unbelievably fast on the ground. I was like, there's no way we're gonna not go back up into the sky. Like we are flying on the earth. All of the masks came down from the ceilings, the overhead compartments are opening. It's so crazy. There are fire trucks driving alongside of our plane because the wings are on fire and they are like ready and waiting if the plane ever slows down to put out the fire on our wings.
Oh my God.
And because we're in a field, there's a bunch of mud that gets stuck under the tires. So eventually the plane comes to a stop and the pilot comes on the loudspeaker, whatever it's called, and his voice is so shaky. And he's like, so what happened is the hydraulic controls the brakes and the steering. And so when we landed, we lost control of the brakes and the steering. So we were just cruising.
Just waiting.
Yep, just waiting to see if anything would happen. Then we had to get, like buses come and drive us back to the airport. We couldn't get on a plane till the next day. It was this whole dramatic thing. And I essentially saved the day. So then I was later rewarded by Delta. But it's just so, the craziest part of this whole story to me, honestly, now is the fact that I do think that experience likely triggered my anxiety, and I'm only finding out 7 years later. I'm sure I would have had anxiety anyway, but
yeah.
it was really like later that year that I started becoming much more anxious, I think. So yeah, that's my plane story.
It's just a casual plane story. Hopefully no one's listening to this on a plane right now.
Oh my God, or in an airport. I will say, Delta, I'm here now. I'm safe and I still fly and it's all good.
Delta has some really sturdy equipment that will make you land. Now, did you have to jump out of the thing like into like the like how they have the like cushions or whatever you jump
That
out
was
of?
a little slide.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You got to
Was
do that?
Mhm.
You got to
Yep.
live the brochure life.
Yeah. But luckily I didn't need the mask or anything. Like there was
Okay.
never an oxygen issue and the plane didn't, I guess, really crash.
Yeah.
It landed, but it didn't stop.
There's got to be
So,
a word for it. It wouldn't be crash. It'd be like a fender bender, maybe.
be like a I don't know.
A
I don't know.
whoops.
Yeah, like a I don't know. It was definitely a hopefully once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
Um
How many times have you flown since?
so many.
Yeah.
I had like, some medication to calm me down for the next couple years on planes.
Yeah.
I don't sleep on planes. I am super alert. I am, making sure that the plane is okay at all times, but I am not as anxious as I was immediately after.
Do you big league people when you come on the plane? Like, you know who I am? Yeah. I stopped Bowie number 752.
I'm the highest level of elite at Delta, so I feel like they probably know.
Yeah, you should have like one of like the gold like badges
I
or
should
something.
have a badge. I
You
should at
should.
least get to go to the Sky Lounge for free, at the very least.
Straight up. I'm sending this episode to them right now.
I'm gonna
See,
yeah, honestly, I'm gonna email them.
did you see them open the emergency exit door on the plane?
No, I don't think so. I think it was too far in front of me. I was back in
Oh,
main
I've always
cabin.
wanted to see that. That is a remarkable story. Well, I'm glad that it ended up in a positive way down the road.
Totally.
But
Yeah.
that is not just a story you just like bring out, which you did. Again, I remember because we were chatting initially and my wife was next to me and she does not do well flying. So I think we were talking and I put my headphones in because I didn't have my headphones in at the time and I didn't want her to hear. And I was like, "What? It crashed? What happened?" And she's like, "What are you guys talking about?" I'm like, "Nothing."
A car.
Yeah, it was a terrible Delta car shuttle crash. I was like, I didn't know what to say or anything to her, but yeah, that is a remarkable story, and thank you for sharing that with me.
We got the exclusive
I
view
know
on my plane story.
you've done so many interviews with other podcasts. Now I have that. I have that in my hand. That I'm like, you want to hear a good plane story with Liv Bowser from Liberate? Well, I got you. Move over Health Magazine and Nasdaq. Now let's finish up. So where can people find Liberate? Where can they get signed up? Where can they find you on the internets, the social medias? What do you got?
So our site is liberatestudio.com. Pretty straightforward. You can try our on-demand library out there. You can join a live class through our site. And then our Instagram is at Liberate Studio. And we have tons of, wellness, mindfulness tips and tricks posted every day. And we also do a free 10-minute meditation every day on our Instagram. So if you want to just dip your toe into mindfulness and learn a little bit more about it, you can definitely join those sessions live or, on the feed afterward.
I was gonna say this earlier when you said that I think you came on the plane. You said you were like it pretty much saved the plane. I don't, like you might have had a joking tone, but like that's something you can be proud of. Like how you say it's like things that you're proud of. Like you should be super proud of like that whole incident that happened, right?
Yeah. No, I think I probably could have been a little bit more calm. It was before I became a regular meditator,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
yes, I think it's a very fun story because everyone was safe and okay afterward.
Yes, yes. And when we came into this conversation laughing, that is
Yeah,
good because if it was the other way around, it wouldn't have been as good.
probably wouldn't be telling it.
No, not at all. Now, what do some of your members say about Liberate? If like if they had to, what are they saying about Liberate to their friends? You think?
I know what they're saying to us because I'm a digital marketer by trade and I want to look at data and survey people and make sure that we're creating the most necessary and productive environment possible. So everyone honestly says that they come into class and feeling, typically anxious is the most common feeling people come in with. And the most common feelings they leave with are calm and confidence. And we have, room for people to leave us testimonials or leave us feedback. And the resounding response is that people just feel better, like more connected to themselves, more calm, more confident, more present, more joyful, whatever maybe the theme is specifically of the class. You just leave feeling like you've had a chance to breathe. You feel a little bit lighter and better is really the key word.
Awesome. I like that a lot. I definitely got to check one out. You said I could come to one, so
Oh yeah,
all right,
anytime.
perfect. Yeah, I'll slide right in there. Because I have all the anxiety I can give.
Yeah.
Nah.
We we don't guarantee breakthroughs, but they often happen.
No, she's guaranteeing breakthroughs, people. That
Out.
you heard it here. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely check it out. I like what you have going on. I love the idea. Like when we first talked, when I heard mental health fitness studio, I was like, what is that? And then we talked. I was like, that's such like a genius idea because you don't see that out there, and just to do it and do it really well is something you should be proud of.
Thank you. Well, your show is something you should be proud of. So everybody go write a list of all the things you're proud of.
Yep, right now we'll do 20 so it can coincide with 10 minutes,
Okay.
one a minute.
Okay, 20 is a lot, but you guys got it. I believe in you.
Be a pop quiz down the road. I usually finish with this at the end of the episode. Now, I usually ask for someone 3 things that they're grateful for. I think we could go 3 that you're either proud about, or you can go 3 that you're grateful for. I think with the whole theme of being proud, I know you're proud of your business, but like maybe there's some other things that we haven't talked about that you're proud about.
Totally. I'm not allowed to touch my phone in the morning until I say 3 things that I'm grateful for. Same at night. So I love that you end the show like that, but I'll do proud to stick with our theme. So 3 things I'm proud of, and I always want to do like more present
Yeah.
kind of attributes versus thinking about something I'm proud of that I did when I was 6. I'm like, what am I proud of today? What did I do today?
Yeah.
I'm proud of the way I prioritize health because I started the day with my yoga meditation ritual. I am proud of the relationships that I'm building through Liberate with yourself and other amazing human beings. And I am proud of my improved relationship with coffee because I used to have a really negative relationship with coffee and I've worked on it.
What's your favorite type of coffee?
I normally just do black coffee from Phil's, which is a West Coast chain. It's amazing. But I get real jittery these days, so I kind of stick to more decaf.
Oh, see, I always do black coffee myself, and I try to like wean myself off it every so often, so I'm not like used to it. But yeah, I never done the decaf route. Like, what is the benefit of decaf?
I love the taste of coffee. I love the culture of coffee, the smell of coffee, the ritual in the morning, how it feels warm when it's, cool and gray out like it is right now. Um, and you get a little bit of caffeine. It's not it's not 100% caffeine free, but you're still able to have the experience of coffee without, for me, having the anxiety or the jitters, or I'm like starving after I drink coffee. I have to
Yeah,
eat so much when I drink it. So it helps me stay more balanced.
it'd be 10 times better if coffee could just hydrate you like coffee. I mean, like water.
Yeah.
It'd be 10 times easier. 10 times easier. Now, my last question here. This is what I also do too. Is I think of everyone's theme song. So say you're walking out to the arena of like a fight or like anything. The curtains open up, Liv Bowser enters the arena, and the music plays. What song is playing for you?
This is so corny, but the first song that came to mind was Happy by Pharrell Williams.
You know what? That is not a bad pick. That is a good one. Because I feel like if you were a professional wrestler, you would be a face, which means a good guy or a good girl. So that actually would make sense. So I like that pick.
Oh, good. What's yours?
Oh wow! No one usually asks me these questions back. See, I listen to like I'm that guy that like listens to music that people don't really know, but I don't like talking about it because I don't like having these conversations. But it's called Doctor Octagon, Earth People.
What is it like? Hum it or do something.
Just do something. I can't even. It's like I can't even explain it.
Does it have a big beat? Is it upbeat? Is it
No,
slow?
it's like very like it's like it's like kind of like that tone. It's but let me
Like
try to think of
pop?
something that you might know. Like what type of music you like? Who's your favorite band of all time?
Favorite band of all time? Gosh, these are tough questions
Yeah,
now.
I bring the heat.
Yeah, that's not Liberate related, so that makes it really hard because that's the only thing I can talk about. Um, Favorite band of all
Oh well,
time.
what's a song?
Honestly,
What's the song that you use for Liberate? If you were gonna meditate or go have a yogi event.
like a class.
Yeah, no, like say like yeah, no, say like you're trying to relax. Like what would be a song to get you into that mood?
Oh, okay. Well, first, my favorite band is Panic at the Disco. I have no
Okay.
shame. And secondly, the song to meditate to, I don't meditate to any music or anything typically. So it wouldn't be for that. But for yoga, I love doing yoga to Maggie Rogers and John Mayer. Just like easy, chill background music is what I like.
That newer John Mayer song is really good. I forget the name of it. I've
Yeah,
always liked it.
he's so crazy good.
Insanely good. Yeah, I can't even think of any other songs I would love. But yeah, I'll send you that song. You'll probably hate it, but it's a good jam.
I want to listen.
Yeah. Liv Bowser, thank you so much. Everyone check out Liberate Studio. Say hi to her. Tell her I sent you, and she's going to be like, why? But Liv, thank you so much for coming in and chatting with me with 22 minutes. I hope you have a great day. I'm very happy and proud of you for everything that you've done. I love you so much, and take care.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much.
Bye.